Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're doing well, mate, as always. Really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my thoughts on it, but as always, more importantly, asking for yours. It is the transfer window. Things are popping off. It looks like Frank Lampard and his Coventry team could be coming to raid Chelsea, just like he did with Derby. Situation with Mark Guehi and perhaps wage demands. Of course, we're looking to get out the likes of Chukwuemeka and Cesare Casadei next, and I do want to do a little comparison, a little stats comparison with Mark Guehi and Ronald Araujo. Araujo, surely, from Barcelona, who Chelsea have been linked with. Both could be similar money, Guehi and Ronald, depending on who Chelsea go for. We're going to get into it today. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. This video is brought to you by my partner, Stocks FC. You've probably noticed the QR code for them here in the corner of the screen. Here is Stocks FC, my partner. It's a stock market trading platform, a little bit like FPL in many ways, but for footballers. It's 18 plus. It is, it's not, although it's not gambling, you do put your money in and it's an opportunity to generate revenue. So I've bought 5 players recently and I'm up, bro, except Johan Visser, who's down 30% for some reason. But I invested in Haaland, thinking he's going to start scoring again, doing well. Morgan Rogers, Reece James, who's up over 22%, and Bruno Fernandes, because I think he's going to start playing well. And now, they found a bit of form. Of course, they play today, Manchester United against Arsenal. Anyway, do check it out. It's not a get-rich quick scheme. It's super fun, Stocks FC. Click the link in the top of the description or scan the QR code on the screen now. Yeah, it's great fun, great sponsor, great partner. Check out Stocks FC. Alright, friends. First of all, I want to talk about Rak-Sakyi. It's been reported on a couple of places. Seeing on X as well, Sam C at Sam C reports. He is a well-connected football Twitter account guy. He works for the United Stand, but he gets good information. He's saying Coventry are pushing for the signing of Chelsea's Sam Rak-Sakyi. Sources confirmed to me. Those at Coventry see huge potential in the player. Now, the young Chelsea midfielder, very, very good indeed. If it's a loan, it could be good. Championship loan with Frank Lampard for the 8, I believe he's 18. He's certainly very, very young. Of course, we've seen him already a little bit in the first team under Enzo Maresca at Chelsea. It doesn't surprise me at all that Frank Lampard is already trying to utilise his good relationship with Chelsea. And not just Chelsea, the new Chelsea owners, they really like Lampard, remember. Of course, they brought him in as an interim coach after Potter, but even though that went terribly, he's got a good relationship with them. I think they respect him, not just as the club's top scorer and legend, but also as just an intelligent guy. Bit of a businessman, Lampard, as well, so it doesn't surprise me at all that he's going back to the well to try and get some talent to help his Coventry team, who got a win in the FA Cup last night on penalties. So who knows, you could draw Chelsea in the next round. That would be riddled in narrative. So there could be a lot of exits. And perhaps Rak-Sakyi's not one that we assumed would definitely be one out the door, but interesting. And I think we'd all give Lampard our blessing, certainly for a loan, right? Let's move on. Alright, so in terms of outgoings at the moment, the most likely trio in terms of senior players are, of course, the likes of Chukwuemeka, Cesare Casadei, which looks like to Napoli is the one, and that'll be a great move for the young Italian. And of course, Ben Chilwell, which there's no news yet. I don't know how, likely he is to go to Potter's West Ham, but to be honest, anything for Chile at the moment, whether, he can get the wages and the move to a Man United where they need a left wing back or a West Ham, but Football.London writes this on Chukwuemeka. Borussia Dortmund are heavily considering a loan for Chukwuemeka, according to reports in Germany. The player is free to leave this window, but it is Nuri Sahin's side who are currently most linked. Excuse me. Chukwuemeka does have a release clause of £40 million and has been subject to plenty of interest across Europe in the past 12 months. Chelsea are open to offers but are keen to sell if possible in the window. I mean, we're not going to get 40 million quid. The 21-year-old could yet go to fellow blue co in Strasbourg. Does he want to go there? Of course, we've got 3 loanees there at the moment, so one would have to be recalled or something like that. Look, I don't want Chukwuemeka to get loaned to Strasbourg. I mean, I'd probably rather that than him do nothing because he needs to play football. But if he goes to Dortmund, if Chukwuemeka goes to Dortmund, Cesare Casadei goes to Napoli. Like, that is some good, strong moves. Rak-Sakyi goes to Coventry to join Frank Lampard's team. Like, positive stuff. We find a way to get Chilwell maybe out to West Ham to play with Potter, and apparently Chelsea are prepared to loan Chilwell as like the only senior player that they'll do a loan just because of a unique scenario. So plenty of outs. I went on the London is Blue podcast yesterday evening. We spoke about this, and I reckon 4 or 5 outs. One sec. Sorry, I had a delivery. So yeah, I reckon around 4 or 5 exits and possibly a player in. Now, the big talking point in terms of bringing a player in is a centre-back, purely because Enzo Maresca's, that's the only noise he's been made about it. He's like, because of Wesley Fofana's injury, because of Benoit Badiachile's injury, let's see if we can do something with centre-back. The fact alone that he said that to me is like, wow, he's probably actively pushing to sign a centre-back. And the two being linked most, of course, is a return for Mark Guehi and Ronald Araujo of Barcelona. Let's just read a couple of articles first. Getting this from the Chelsea Chronicle, saying that for a defender, it looks like Araujo could cost Chelsea or any interested club a lot of money. According to Mundo Deportivo, Spanish publication, Barcelona will demand £58 million fee for Araujo if the 25-year-old asks to leave the Spotify Nou Camp this month. It's still wild that it's called Spotify. The Catalan club look determined to keep hold of him, with Mundo Deportivo claiming that they have already turned down a bid from Juventus. However, it appears that there is a price that they are willing to do business at, and as of now, Guehi seems to be Chelsea's priority. We'll speak about that in a moment. Chelsea have a master plan to land Guehi before the transfer window closes. A couple of things could ruin it. Hansi Flick really appreciates Araujo. I hope I'm saying that right. Let me know in the comments if I'm not saying that right. Yes. So look, and another article from the Chelsea Chronicle referencing Mark Guehi that it comes with our interest comes with the injuries to the French guys, Badiashile, Fofana, and perhaps the doubts surrounding Axel Disasi. People are speculating that Chelsea could still actually sell Disasi. Palace want a straight cash deal for Mark Guehi, but of course they've got Trevoh Chalobah on loan, and maybe something can be done there. Now, there's an article suggesting on Football Index that Chelsea's biggest hurdle in pursuit of Mark Guehi is wage demands. Mark Guehi is a central figure for Crystal Palace and a regular for England, of course, and he's seen his stock raise steadily. His impressive performances in the Premier League have elevated his market value. Palace reportedly demanding over £50 million. The wage structure at Stamford Bridge seems to be a roadblock. Now, he'd still get like 50k a week, basic, maybe, I don't know, because he's a senior player. The fact how he's a captain from a Premier League London rival, Chelsea might go, because he's a bit more senior Mark Guehi as well. He's not like these youngsters that we put on tuppence, very, very low wages when they sign from nowhere. He's played in the Prem lots, and he is, he's essentially a bit more of a senior player. How's he, mid-20s? He's 24, okay, so he's not that old still. He's 24. Surely, like, he could accept, he won't. The thing is, he won't get Wesley Fofana wages. This is what we need to remember. Wesley Fofana signed for Chelsea before this wage structure was in place, but surely he'd make it work. In terms of transfer fee, right? In terms of transfer fee, he'll have 18 months. He's got 18 months left in this contract. 50 million seems like a lot. I understand, like, now is a good time to get him in terms of if you need him in January, because the difference from 18 months on your contract and 12 months on your contract is such a substantial drop in terms of what you can demand in the transfer market. So, I don't know. Mark Guehi will be worth whatever he's sold for in January. as far as I'm concerned, because he's really, really good. He's probably England's, dare I say, first name on the team sheet for centre-backs. Because it's not really Stones anymore, and of course it's not Maguire, and Levi Cole's stocks are rising, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting. Look, I'm going to show you something now on X Value, which is obviously the stats sites I use, but I'm going to show you a comparison matrix thing here between him, Mark Guehi, and Ronald Araujo. So let's have a look at this now. So here we go, guys. This is the comparison stats I want to show you. Mark is represented in blue. Ronald is represented in green. He's got a higher SPR rating, which is performance rating, essentially an aggregated score. And as you can see, their performance charts here, really, really interesting. Ronald seems to be a much more rounded player, but you also have to consider here that Mark is playing in the Premier League, and he's playing in the Premier League for Crystal Palace. He's not playing in La Liga for Barcelona. Similar in age, of course. Mark's 24, Ronald is 25, as you can see above my head there. Mark is more of a defender. He's a stopper, but again, maybe that's because he's playing for Palace, whereas Ronald is more of a build-up initiator. Both right-footed, both weigh the same. Mark's a little bit shorter, 6 centimeters shorter, which can be kind of significant. Despite both being right-footed, he tends to play on the left, and you'd have to say, with Chelsea looking to keep Badiashile and Fofana's injury, and perhaps Disasi to go, we're looking for a right-sided centre back. But as a right footer, you'd imagine Mark Guehi would be comfortable playing on the right. Of course, Ronald here is playing on the right, as you can see his heat map in green there. Yes, so Mark touches the ball more in defence. Neither touch the ball in the attacking third. Ronald touches the ball more in the middle third in build-up. So Mark's having to defend for Crystal Palace, and that's sort of relevant information here. So yes, again, blue Mark, green Ronald, and then there's some metrics to go across here. In terms of aerial duels, Ronald wins. In terms of crosses, Mark wins. In terms of dribbles, Mark wins narrowly. In terms of shots, Mark wins. In terms of passes, Ronald wins, but again, Barcelona in La Liga versus Mark in Crystal Palace in the Premier League. So, pinch of salt. But rather interestingly, the win percentage of tackles from Ronald Araujo is 81% to Mark Guehi's 50%. Which is significantly high. It's worth mentioning as well that the data being used here is this season for Mark and last season for Ronald. I guess this is due to appearances or what's available minutes, but they're both similar. A good body of evidence. 25 appearances versus 19, so it's relevant data. And finally, I want to show you their polar charts here. Yeah, as you can see, much more well-rounded and much more impressive from Ronald Araujo. He looks like a really good defender, to be honest, only slightly older than Mark. But again, aerial win percentage, that's what I want. Look at that, comparatively to Mark's. Much more dominant there. Ooh, okay, transition page, apparently. Much more dominant there. You'd have to say... I think most Chelsea fans, if they were offered an opportunity to sign one, they'd say Mark Guehi for a few reasons. Possibly because they've seen him defend well in the Premier League. They've seen him start and play well for England. He's being, his stocks are up in England. Check out Stocks FC. Yeah, maybe in the next Stocks FC video, I'll check out Mark Guehi. But yeah, he's like a proven Premier League defender. And I think, guys, maybe most importantly, he's considered a leader. He wears the captain's armband for Crystal Palace. He's considered like they call him Uncle Mark in the England camp because he's such an old head for a young guy. He's three plus years older than Levi. He can calm Levi down, and you'd assume it would be those two playing together. Yeah, I'd quite like it. I'd quite like it. Personally, he's a great player. Him back at Chelsea would represent, and if I don't think there's no buyback clause. We had a sell-on clause. I don't think that translates to anything. But if a deal can be done and he can be convinced to come to Chelsea, I would probably be preferring him over Ronald Araujo because we've seen him in the Prem play well. He's acts like a leader. Of course, he's speaks the language already and everything. And if you're going to buy a player mid-season to ensure you get Champions League football, I think the plug-and-play option is good, and that is Mark Guehi. So let me know what you think. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Leave them down below in the comment section. Thank you as always for supporting the content by liking and subscribing. Do go check out Stocks FC. Click the link in the top of the description. It's a load of fun. And yeah, I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.